Guys, do you see these cookies? These cookies have come out of the oven, the exact same shape that they went into the oven. And the reason for that is this recipe was designed with cookie cutters in mind, specifically cookie cutters from cuttingabout.com, where you can find cookie cutters for literally every occasion you can ever think of. There's over 1,000 on there. However, your boring shaped cookie cutters from the supermarket will also do. Let's get into it, shall we? So good. Right, today I'm using my running cookie cutter pack because my friend is running a marathon, and if anyone in my life deserves cookies, it's her. Let's get into the recipe, shall we? If you've never baked before, this is the recipe to start with. It's gonna be so easy. We're gonna throw this dough together in about 10 minutes. It's really hard to go wrong. Here is everything you're gonna need. You want the largest bowl you've got. We're gonna mix everything into this bowl. That's our main bowl. You want a second bowl. If you're gonna weigh everything out beforehand, which is what I'm gonna do, you want a second bowl to put your flour in because there's a lot of that. It'll eventually end up in there with everything else. So if you wanna weigh everything into the one bowl, you're absolutely free to do that. A couple small bowls. You got egg, baking powder, salt. A set of scales, please don't go converting this into cups. I see you Americans. This recipe is in grams for good reasons. Set of measuring spoons, not the most vital thing in the world. You can always just use a teaspoon, you'll be fine. Rolling pin, this one you do need. I've got a dough scraper. Again, not the end of the world if you don't have that. Now I have a hand mixer. You can also use a stand mixer, or if you're old fashioned, you don't have one of these, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna take you a little bit longer. You can always just use a wooden spoon. I've also got cling film, plastic wrap, wrapping up, putting it in the fridge to chill, or if you're gonna freeze. I've also got a cooling rack that's gonna help cool things down when we get out the other end. Not the most vital thing in the world. And that's it, that's absolutely everything you're gonna need. I mean, you also need a baking tray and an oven. I'm gonna assume you have those things, or this recipe's not for you. I guess you also do need cookie cutters, ideally from cuttingabout.com, but I guess boring shaped cookie cutters from your local supermarket will do. They just won't be as fun. Let's move on to the ingredients, shall we? Now this is the most important thing I'm gonna say in this video. If you listen to one thing, let it be this. Your butter, unsalted, needs to be room temperature. You need to be able to, I guess, press a finger into it, leave a little indent. If it's too hard, get it out of the fridge now, cut it into small cubes, that'll make it warm up faster. If you have to, microwave it, 10-second increments on like 50% power. Check it 2 or 3 times, then you're good to go. If the butter's too hard, it's not gonna combine with the sugar and we're gonna have a bad time. We're also gonna need some plain flour, granulated sugar, baking powder, eggs, or rather 1 egg for this recipe, salt, vanilla extract, or like whatever other extract / flavoring you're using. If this video gets like 100 million views, I'm gonna buy the big version of this. You know, the one that costs like £1,000. That'll be a little treat for myself. Right, I've got everything weighed out and ready to go. Mise en place, I believe they call it in France. I think that's French for get together. I don't know. I don't speak French unless it involves asking where the swimming pool is. I do know that. Où est la piscine? In here I've got my sugar, and I'm gonna add in my butter that I've cut into some smaller cubes just to make it easier to mix. Now I'm gonna start giving it a good mix, and I'm gonna stop at each stage just to show you what it should look like, what sort of consistency we're looking for. Right, hopefully you can see here the sort of consistency we're looking for, very smooth. All just one mixture. No, you can't see granules of sugar, you can't see bits of butter. I reckon I was mixing that for just under a minute. Now what we're gonna do is add our egg and vanilla mixture straight in. In it goes. And I'm gonna scrape down the sides and give this another mix. Right, that's about another minute of mixing, and it's got to what I affectionately refer to as soft scrambled egg texture. That's what you're looking for. Now we're gonna add in our salt and baking powder mix. And most of our flour, I'm gonna put in 3/4 and then I'm gonna mix it, see how it's doing, add more because it'll probably be too soft. You can always add more flour, you can't take flour away. Here we go. I'm gonna start mixing this with the whisks, but I'm gonna quickly move to the dough hook attachments once it gets a bit stiff. My favorite part. Bang. I'm gonna move to the dough hooks, but it's important to scrape down your sides, any flour that's not in, just get it all mixed up. There's some on the bottom of mine as well. If you're using a stand mixer, make sure you're doing this because they tend to not be great at getting it all. I don't know, I don't have a stand mixer. I feel like that's an American thing. Add in the rest of my flour while I'm here. And the last bit of the flour, this genuinely hurts my hand with a hand mixer. So if you're doing this with a wooden spoon, fair play to you. And again, bang. Right, that was a couple minutes with the dough hooks. You want it to this sort of consistency. It does look kind of crumbly, but if you touch it, it'll come together. But crucially, it doesn't stay on your finger. That would mean it's too sticky. Add some more flour, get mixing again. You don't want to see streaks of flour through the dough either. It means you haven't mixed it enough. Now, because our dough has just been being mixed, it's going to be quite warm and sticky, and that's not what we need. We need it kind of cooler and firmer for rolling and cutting. So what we're going to do is get some flour on our hands. And on our board, scoop the dough out. Here we go. It should come together like one big pile. Once you've got your dough out, you want to get it into one pile. And for me, actually for you too, cut it in two, because it'll just be easier to work with. I'm actually going to freeze half of this because I don't need it all now. If you see me making a video in the future and I go, here's one I made earlier, it's this. I'm going to wrap it up in some cling film, put it in the freezer where it will last for, I'm going to say 2 months, probably longer, but don't come at me if it's not. Now we're going to take our remaining dough. We're going to get another bit of cling film. And I'm just going to put it in the cling film. We're going to flatten this. Not quite to the same thickness we'd roll it to, but sort of like, you know, like a Frisbee. And we're going to cover it up and we're just going to put this in the fridge for, I'd say minimum 15 minutes. Just let it firm up to a couple of days if you want to make this in advance before you're going to roll it. Right, that's been about 15 minutes. Dough feels nice and firm. Now we're going to work quickly here because we don't want it to get too warm. It's a warm day today in Scotland, which is rare. A bit more flour down on the hands, on the rolling pin. Let's get that down, get it nice and floury. That's fine. Okay. Now we're going to roll this out to, ideally, 5mm to 8mm thick. If you've got like guides for your rolling pin, that helps, but you don't need them. Just try and make sure it's uniform consistency all the way through, because then they're going to cook evenly. Speaking of cooking evenly, this is a great time to turn your oven on. I'm going to go to 180 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. 300 Fahrenheit. I just don't respect them. Okay, just check it's not stuck. That's perfect. That is looking good. Baking sheet ready to be transferred onto. A little bit of flour on the surface. Now I'm going to start here with the stopwatch. This is where it becomes like a game of how many can I cut before I have to gather all the dough and re-roll. What you want to do, press your cutter straight in, firm pressure on all sides. Give it just a little wiggle and lift it straight up. If it comes out in the cutter, that's fine. Pop it on your baking sheet. If it doesn't, what you want to do is take your scraper or a knife and just get under it. Try and keep it in shape, and you can plop it down onto the baking sheet. If it comes out of shape, you can just reform it with your hands. Down, wiggle, out. Runner now, trainer. Ooh, yeah, I can fit that in the side. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nice. And the running vest. Can I get 2 of these in here? Yes, I can. Bang. And if you've ever got a cutter with thin bits, like the top of this running vest here, and the dough is getting stuck in the cutter and it's not coming out too easily, take the bluntest object you have that'll fit through there, finger, and just pop it out gently. Let's move these to the baking sheet. Right, once you've gathered all your cookies and you've got your leftover dough scraps, it's probably going to be too warm to reform, roll out again and cut. So what you do, get it back into a little pancake, into the cling film, into the fridge. Do that as many times as you need to do. That's why it helps having the other half of the dough in the fridge. You can take it out, work in pairs, work in twos, work with 2 sets of dough. Oh, good. There's one that came out in the cutter and you can just pop it out. There we go. Now, got my full baking tray of cookies. Because I've been working with these and filming, it's taken me a while and these have come up right to room temperature. Now they'll probably be fine just to put straight in the oven, but what I'm going to do is stick them in the fridge for another 10 minutes, cut some more, and then they're going in the oven. Right, these bad boys have had about 20 minutes in the fridge because I got distracted. I'm going to put them in the oven, 180 degrees, middle shelf. I'm going to start with 7 minutes. Alexa, timer 7 minutes.
7-minute timer, starting now.
Thank you. 7 is basically, depending on the thickness, the minimum amount of time they're going to need, depending on how thick they are and how big they are and how many there are in there and what temperature they went in. So it's good to check them after 7, and then I go in 2-minute increments from there, because you can always cook them for longer, but you can't cook them for less long. I think Gandhi said that. I'll see you in 7 minutes. Alexa, stop. Thank you. Right, these have had 7 minutes. I'm going to take them out of the oven and have a look. Now, I can tell these are kind of not done. I'm going to put them back in for a couple of minutes. What we're looking for in them being done is if you look at the thinnest bits of your cookie, that they've started to brown right around the edges. The bigger ones will take a bit longer to brown. If they are massively different sizes, you can take some out a bit earlier. The good news is they're all cooked. You can take them out completely pale, you can take them out a little bit brown, or you can continue. It's just sort of caramelizing the sugars. Personally, I find them more delicious when they're sort of brown all over. They're a bit harder, they're not chewy in the middle. They'll give you a nice snap. All 3 are delicious. These have had another couple of minutes. Yep, looking nice and brown around the edges. And place them down. Now, when they first come out of the oven, they are going to be still quite soft and pliable. Like if I touch this one here, you can change the shape, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to wait another couple of minutes, let them cool a little bit, Then we're going to move them onto a cooling rack. Okay, been a couple minutes. You can pick it up nicely now. I'm just going to move these onto the cooling rack. That one's still a bit soft because it's bigger. There we go. Now you can see here what I was talking about. The shoe here has gone a lot browner because it's a bit smaller, got more thin bits, as opposed to the stopwatch here, which has kind of gone brown around the outsides. Middle still be nice and soft. Either way, delicious. Now after these have cooled, if you're not going to eat them straight away, you can put them into an airtight container and you can store them for many days, I would say. I'm going to package these up, take them to my friend after the marathon. Hopefully they all go down a treat. There we go, guys. Didn't I tell you it was easy? We've got shoes, we've got our stopwatches, our person running, we've got our running vests. Now I think these personally look great just straight off the bat. However, if you want to ice them, you want to decorate them, there are so many ways to do that. I'm not the guy for decorating. That's, you find some other YouTube channel. What I am going to do is take like an icing pen that I got from the supermarket and just ice the time of the marathon onto the stopwatch. I feel like that'll be a nice touch. Apart from that, thanks for watching. It's cuttingabout.com for cookie cutters in literally every occasion you could ever think of. Cheers. She's an athlete. She's not going to need 8 cookies. So good.